The school system is a killer of creativity, an assassin of children's spirit of learning. I've been obsessed with our educational system for more than 20 years. There are fundamental mistakes in it. We need to do something about it. Some children arrive excited to learn and they just listen from their teachers. Sit down and shut up. Don't talk. Essentially, what is happening inside the classroom hasn't changed in more than 100 years. Why?
I be the genie.
Hi, my name is Chanks. I'm a chemical engineer. However, I've spent around 17 years of my life educating people through my volunteering and my job experience. Let me tell you how I arrived to this point by explaining you my first life-changing event. My mom died when I was 14 years old. I never met my father. I was a single child. This led me in a peculiar position in life. Out of nowhere, I had to worry about things that my friends and other peers didn't even need to think about. This, as you can imagine, had a direct influence in my performance at school. Since I arrived to this world for Magdalena, my mother, was very important that I had the best education, or at least the best she could afford. I was born in Mexico, and unfortunately, the quality of the public schools in this developing country is dramatically low. My mom was aware of this, so she decided to pay for giving me a private education. You have no idea how grateful I am with Magdalena. She was a visionary woman. In the tuition payments of my school, there was an insurance included that would cover the expenses until the end of high school in case one or both of the students' parents died. When Magdalena passed away, I was still missing 4 years before finishing. This sort of scholarship was valid if the student had good grades and a decent behavior. So, if I wanted to finish my education in this school, I needed to be a good student and always behave in a proper way. This was a problem. When I was in junior high school, my priority wasn't having good grades. My number one goal was just having fun at school with my buddies. So in those years, my grades were pretty bad. But as soon as my scholarship got activated, I needed to avoid any academic problem, because if I started failing subjects, I could be expelled from it, meaning I would be finishing my education in a public school, and even worse, I would be sent away from my friends. So if you could guess, what do you think happened? Long story short, I managed to finish high school, making these videos is harder than you think. Whatever. Long story short, I managed to finish high school, retaining my scholarship, being with my friends, and also having one of the highest grades among them. So, what happened? How did I manage to drastically improve my performance at school? Did I become a genius after some months? No, I didn't. Many times school was pretty hard for me. Not because of the complexity of the subjects, it was hard because I was constantly bored at school. That's why I always preferred to be playing and having fun with my friends, instead of just being seated for hours paying attention to teachers that, in many cases, it was clear that they weren't even enjoying their job. For many years, I had to learn things that until today, I probably never used. There's a huge amount of information I was forced to learn that has been completely irrelevant in my life. Does this sound familiar to you? Think about this. Try to picture a hospital in the beginning of the 20th century. Let's say it's the year 1910. Try to imagine, how was the inside? What was the equipment like? Remember, it's the year 1910, so what was the knowledge the people working at the hospital had at the time? What were the most advanced procedures they made at that hospital. So what was the... Carajo. What kind of technology did they have, or did they have the what kind of technology they had at their disposal? Now, picture the same hospital today. How is the equipment looking? How different is the information doctors and nurses have now? How many new procedures are they able to do in the same hospital? I bet you could spot significant differences between the hospital in 1910 and the modern one, right? Now let's make another example. Imagine it's the same year as before, it's 1910. But now, try to picture a classroom. What is inside the classroom? What would be the teacher doing? How were the chairs and the desks distributed? What was the technology inside the classroom? What were the lessons about? Now, picture the same classroom today in 2022. How's the interior now? What is the teacher doing? How different are the lessons now? What kind of technology is used nowadays? Sure, now we can spot some big screens and maybe some computers, but essentially, what is happening inside the classroom hasn't changed in more than 100 years. Why? I've been obsessed with our educational system for more than 20 years. There are fundamental mistakes in it. We need to do something about it. I felt the need to do something about it. That's why I created this channel. I've spent around half of my life involved in the education of other human beings from many different countries. As an educator, I believe there is a huge gap between the actual system and what has to be done for improving the education of the entire human race. Just try to remember, when you were at school, how eager were you to start your vacations? Why? Because vacations equal fun. If you look at the actual system, it's the opposite of what it takes to be successful in real life. Often teachers would say to us, "Do as you're told, do not cooperate, do it by yourself." Regularly, there is no brainstorming, there is no synergy among the people inside the classroom. Some children arrive excited to learn and they just listen from their teachers. "Sit down and shut up, don't talk." The school system is a killer of creativity, an assassin of children's spirit of learning. I want to explore the flaws and, with the help of the community, create and analyze new ways to get the education we deserve. I've been volunteering in a marvelous organization for the past 14 years, and trust me, I've been volunteering in a marvelous organization for the past 14 years, and trust me, I've seen ways to radically improve the education of other people. I'm going to talk about this in my next video. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I can guarantee you it's going to be an interesting journey. Let's have fun together. Subscribe now so you won't miss anything. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.